So where do you think high blood pressure comes from? The number one answer I normally get is that it's genetic. Number two answer is old age. Well, I can tell you that I know a lot of older people that do not have high blood pressure. And I have many people that their grandparents or their parents had it, but they don't necessarily have it. Let me tell you, really, the majority of high blood pressure, where it comes from, is inflammation. Inflammation in the body, very simply put. So how do we get inflammation? There's many avenues that create inflammation. The first one being subluxation. So if there's a misalignment in the spine, it creates inflammatory response or inflammation to that area of the nerve system, your nerve supply. And that creates a systemic response throughout the entire body, essentially raising the inflammation signals throughout your entire system. The other way that it can come is through diet. And so in our society, we have many subluxated people walking around eating crappy diets and not getting any or very little type of movement. And we have a huge amount of inflammation in the system. And so because of that inflammation, the arteries that have to transport the blood from the heart to the brain become thick with inflammation, or they get clogged, or what you know is plaquing, right? And so if an artery becomes thicker, is it easier or harder to pump blood through the pipes? Well, it becomes harder. And so your brain doesn't care whether it's easy or hard. All your brain knows is that it needs oxygen from that blood to keep you alive. That's your innate intelligence at work. And so what is going to happen is that in order to get that blood, it has to pump how? Harder. And so because it's pumping harder, that raises your blood pressure so that you can get the oxygen here to keep you alive. So what is our response to the inflammation? In today's sick care society, we don't even look at the cause of high blood pressure. We only know and say, oh, the blood pressure's high, let's get it down. And so the way that we do that is generally through a medication. So the medication is a chemical response, and the medication now lowers your blood pressure. So because now our blood pressure is lowered, are we getting the proper amounts of blood and oxygen to our brain? The answer is no. So even though your numbers are quote unquote normal, now your blood pressure is that 120/80, you are slowly robbing your brain of oxygen long term. And that's why we see many patients who long term have cognitive disorders, such as, just to give you examples or things I can think of off the top of my head, dementia, Alzheimer's, those types of issues, because the brain has been robbed of vital nutrients and oxygen for long periods of time. So next time your blood pressure is high, rather than figuring out how to cover it up, or maybe your blood pressure is high now, or maybe it's low because of a medication, you need to be asking, how do I help my innate intelligence start healing? And how do I help my body get back to a path of health rather than just cover the medication up? Well, it starts here. Removing the inflammation, removing subluxation, eating well, moving well. And if you need help in those areas, make sure you come and talk to your doctor, meaning me, and I can help you. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you live in victory. Okay, so love you all. Hope that gave you a good lesson. Talk soon.